Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, powered by C-Crew, Google and Amazon advertising experts. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Rammes of Barnes Dennig, who talks about the firm's 60th anniversary and what sets them apart from the competition. And on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, Lori Wall of Spanish on the Fly discusses their corporate training and individual class options. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, C-Crew, Google and Amazon advertising experts, and Schneller Knockelman. You still have time to register for the Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky Awards happening on Thursday, June 5th. These awards celebrate women who have been recognized for blazing trails, opening doors, demonstrating leadership in their homes, their professions, their communities, and across the region. You can register at nkychamber.com/events, and you will not want to miss out on this inspiring event. Now, let's go meet our members of the week, hear from our sponsors, and Nancy and I will be back with this week's guests.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we'll highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Heartwood Strategies specializes in qualitative research, strategy, and workshop facilitation for companies and organizations of all sizes. Houchins Insurance Group is an independent insurance agency offering business insurance, employee benefits, personal lines, and public entity insurance. Known for its fresh, customizable menu featuring burritos, tacos, and bowls, Sombrero emphasizes healthy ingredients and offers options for various dietary preferences. Emergency Shelter of Northern Kentucky provides life-saving, life-changing, low-barrier shelter and services to adults in the community experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity. Ready Cincinnati is the first point of contact for companies considering the 15-county, 3-state Cincinnati region as a perfect place to locate and grow. Hi, everyone. On the podcast today, I am joined by Jay Rammes, a Managing Director of Barnes Dennig. Welcome to the podcast, Jay.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you on. Barnes Dennig, you guys are a big company here in Northern Kentucky. You guys have been around for 60 years.
That's right. It's our anniversary.
Congratulations. Tell us a little bit about Barnes Dennig.
So it's our 60th anniversary, as you highlighted. We originally were in downtown Cincinnati, and over the years we've branched out. Really, our second office was in Northern Kentucky, and so we also have the offices in Indianapolis, Dayton, Northern Kentucky, two in Indianapolis actually, and full service CPA firm. People obviously associate taxes and audits and those types of things with traffic. We're very deep in, but we have a wide array of services, whether it's wealth management, fractional consultants, CFOs, controllers, things like that. So full service professional service firm.
Yeah, in 60 years, that is a huge milestone. Congratulations again on that. Yeah. One of the coolest things, and you mentioned this in your little form that you fill out before you come on the podcast, you guys still have some of your original clients at Barnes Dennig.
We do. Yes, thank you. It's wild. We've been around 60 years, and the firm was founded by Bob Barnes Dennig, and they were in the best situation with their current firm, and they were 45 years old with kids and not at the right point of life to take a risk, but they did. And 6 clients of that firm went with them because they were the best. That's who was delivering the value. And of those 6 clients, we still have 5 to this day, 60 years later. And that's through generational changes of ownership and all sorts of things going on with the economy over 60 years. And the fact that we continue to serve them is obviously we're really proud of that. So,
yeah, that's an incredible milestone to be able to have. And just knowing that you're building those relationships and maintaining them is a huge thing. Talk a little bit about how the firm has changed but stayed the same over the course of 6 decades.
Yeah. I'm proud of that. You want to keep your core values the same. You never want to lose sight of that. What Bob Barnes and Al Dennig built, and I've been around for 35 years, so I, for better or worse, knew them.
Yeah.
And they went out on their own, as I said, because they wanted to. They didn't feel like they were valued at the company they were at, and so they wanted to create an environment where the company was going to take care of the clients and the staff on an equal playing field. We've since added community, our commitment to our clients, our staff, and the community. And so those values never change. At least I hope they don't change, right? But what has changed is just the scale of who we are and what we do. Over 60 years, we've continued to grow. As we've grown, our clients have grown. They're more complicated, they're more involved. So I like to call it a depth and breadth of services. So that's what's changed. Is we were always strong in construction or manufacturing or not-for-profit, wholesale distribution. Those were always big industries. Those were some of those 5 or 6 clients that we had at the beginning. And so as they grew, we had to become better experts in each of those industries. So that's the depth. And also obviously in accounting and tax, things like that. But as we grew, they needed more services, and then they were having generational changes. They were selling, they had liquidity events, and now they had money to invest. And they're like, well, what do we do now, Jay or Bob or Al, or whoever? And so that's where we're going to expand. We'll bring in wealth management services. We bring in fractional CFOs or controllers. And so we just keep trying, or data analytics is now a thing with technology. And so you're always trying to expand what you can do for the client, but again, the core values stay the same.
Yeah, and I think that's vital. And I think that really shows, especially when you talk about that commitment to your clients, to the community, and to your employees.
Staff, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that commitment. What kind of commitments are you making, and how are you keeping those upheld?
Well, client services, it's an equal playing field. You're always going to start with service because you got to take care of your clients. But we talk about the staff, and this busy season was just one example. I sit in monthly HR meetings as a managing partner, and every month we talk about what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and we're always trying to fix whatever can be improved. But it's no secret that April 15th is kind of a thing in our business.
Yeah.
It's a little busy that time of year.
Yeah.
And it's just a thing. It's really, really hard to manage what we call the compression of that date and the hours people work leading up to that date. Mm-hmm. And so we threw a team of people at it this year, myself included, to say, okay, what can we do differently? Let's try to break the mold of how we manage that due date. And it was a multi-pronged thing, but the goal was, let's move as much stuff up as best we can. Let's talk to our clients, let's explain to them that, yeah, we're here to serve you, but we can't, put all that pressure on our people. And so it was a collective effort. And not to bore you, I'm a numbers guy, I'm an accountant, but it's like we're running 20-25% better on volume, earlier. So the hour, typically we go to the April 15th party and it'd be like 8, 9, 10 o'clock. People are still trying to get some things done. 5 o'clock, doors are closed. And we're done this year. Yeah. So it's just trying to find little ways to take the burden off the staff. We got to serve the clients, but is there a better way of doing things? That's probably a better way to say it. It's just always trying to find a better way to do things to make our staff's lives better as we continue to serve the clients.
Yeah, I think that's really important, finding that balance there, especially in
struggle,
that world
sure.
of client service.
Right.
And one of the things you mentioned, you've been with Barnes Dennig for over 30 years. What kind of lessons have you learned while you're leading through these changes, trying to find new ways to stay competitive, stay good to your staff?
Yeah, change is and you get more comfortable. I became managing partner in 2018, and so I tell the story of COVID. I've been talking about a period of change. Mm-hmm. And 2018, I think I know what I'm doing, but I'm a little insecure. Everybody is. And so 2019, I just want to get through it. But end of 2019, I'm ready to get all this stuff done. And what happens in March of 20 is the world comes apart. And so the rule book goes out the window, and you're just running day by day, week by week. So I felt in that environment of change where it's just coming at you a million miles an hour, is just you make the best decisions you can, with not perfect information. That's something I learned a long time ago about change too, is if you're looking for 100% certainty to make a decision, you're going to be dead in the water. You're going to fail. So you really learn to make decisions with 70-80% of the information, and you hope you make the most. You hope your average is better than not. And so that really helped. The two other things that change is it's going to happen with or without you, and that's where it's the hardest part of running a business, I'd say, but it's the greatest challenge of running a business in a good way. That it's like, hey, our competition's changing every day. The rules are changing. Tax accounting rules are changing every day. And so we've got technology is changing every day. So what are you going to do to stay ahead of the curve? And so that's where it's myself and a whole lot of smarter people than I am in the firm trying to figure all that stuff out. And so you gotta embrace it, not run from it. And the only other thing, and I'm not sure if this falls under change, but I have also learned that sometimes change requires you to make tough decisions that you don't know how it's going to be received, that people are, and you build up this scenario in your mind that is probably 100 times worse than it ever is. And once you make that decision, a week later, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another thing I've learned is you're going to work with imperfect information. You're going to make some decisions that maybe people aren't happy about, but whatever catastrophic circumstances you think are going to happen, 9 times out of 10 never do. So those are just a few things I've learned. I don't know.
Yeah, those are some pretty valuable takeaways. And I love what you said about embracing that change and looking towards the future. What kind of things excite you about the future for Barnes Dennig and about CPAs and the future of the profession?
It's there's a consultant in our business, and I'll give him a plug. He'll love me for it. But Alan Colton, he's probably one of the premier consultants nationally in public accounting. He said that he's seen more change in the last 5 to 10 years, than he's seen his entire career. And he's dead on. The amount of, there's merger activity. We've been fortunate enough to find other firms that want to join Barnes Dennig, and we've grown geographically through that. But there's a ton of that going on in our industry. We're top 100, top 10 firms are merging with each other. So it's really creating, and private equity's coming in and buying accounting firms, which is totally changing the ownership model of what it looks like to be a CPA firm. So if that could be a scary world, but it's also just so dynamic. I mean, that's what's exciting about it. It's like, well, it's not doing the same thing day after day after day. The playbook's really, really evolving. And we're also finding, because of technology changes, which is so rapid, we can do so many different things for our clients. And so that's probably the most exciting thing, is just how dynamic. Because when people think public accounting, not really a dynamic thing, maybe, but with all this technology and all this change, it's never been a more exciting time to be part of the profession, and to try to lead an organization through those changes. And like, okay, where can we be? Where do we want to be 5-10 years down the road? We're doing we always do a leadership summit in June, and typically that's the senior managers and partners, like say the old people. This year we're going to have 2. We're having one when it's just our managers, the people that are going to be here for 20 years. And we're going to pose, we have a facilitator with 5 questions to them. What do you want to see this firm in 15, 20 years? If you were calling the shots, what would it be? How would you change the firm? What would you embrace? And then they're going to present to our group, and then we're going to debate it and go on it. So it's just this exciting time where everybody's got a voice right now, because it's so new for all of us.
Yeah, that does sound really exciting. It sounds like you guys are doing some really great things over there at Barnes Dennig. And Jay, before I let you go, is there anything else you think our viewers and listeners need to know about you or about Barnes Dennig?
Not really. I mean, it's, again, we're here to serve our clients. I know this is the Northern Kentucky podcast. We've got an office here in Northern Kentucky. So of those 5 or 6 original clients, 2 were based here in Northern Kentucky and continue to serve those people. So we love being in this community. Our staff, employees live in these markets. So we're just here to help. That's all we've always ever been.
Yeah. Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. I'm Nancy Spivey, Vice President of Talent Strategies. And on today's podcast, I'm talking to Lori Wall. Lori is the owner of Spanish on the Fly. tell me what Spanish on the fly is.
Well, we have a couple of different types of offerings. Our main product is, or service, I should say, is a corporate training offered to employers that have a lot of Spanish-speaking employees. And we can go two directions there. We will either train people in Spanish language skills or teach your non-English speakers English.
So if I work in a place that has a lot of Spanish speaking or bilingual, obviously, talent, you're there for both the employer and the employee. Is that correct?
Correct.
And help me as an employer, because we are talking largely to our chamber members. Help me understand, like, what are the different options that I can offer, that I can bring in-house through your services?
Yeah, sure. So I mainly work with HR departments, and we would develop exactly the product that you're looking for. So I have a Spanish program that is just, the curriculum is already prescribed. It's just your basic 12 lessons. Everything occurs in 12 lesson format over 12 hours. The second route you could take with that would be a totally customized. Say you're in the automotive industry and you need people to know exactly the terminology that you use during the day at your company, then we would do that.
So you actually have people, I guess, on your staff that do customized one-on-one specific to my related industry.
Correct. So we would go in, and like I said, with the HR department, we would develop the course that you're looking for. And then your company decides who you want to deliver this to. Is it your managers? Is it your frontline people? Is it people that are going to be working with Hispanics in the market?
Okay.
So there's
consumers, right? People that are customers of yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think of a beverage company that I work for, and they were seeing a lot of the convenient stores pop up with Spanish-speaking owners.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, we need to know how to sell cerveza. So,
it's pretty interesting.
Right.
So I think you've been doing this type of work for a number of years. What are you seeing in Northern Kentucky? Is it a resurgence? Are we, competitive with other markets? Are you seeing a lot of interest in what you do?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I was teaching in the schools for the past 12 years, and now I'm back doing the corporate, and it has grown exponentially in this time.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think, so help me understand, like, you've got a menu of service offerings. What are your most requested? What are things that you do the most?
So every company is a little bit different. I would say the Spanish is the most, but now I'm having these requests for English as a second language, where we can work with not just Spanish speakers, but the whole population of non-English speakers.
Yeah, and I know from a couple of chamber members that have reached out specifically to me, it's they're teaching their supervisors how to communicate to the population that work there, right?
Correct, yeah.
And then it's also, if I am on a line and I'm working next to somebody that has language barriers, it's helping to overcome some of that. It's not just truly, I think, language, it's also kind of cultural differences too, right?
Absolutely. You can't separate the two.
Yeah.
They're very closely intertwined.
Right,
Definitely.
I understand. So corporate training, we've talked about your most needed classes. How about the benefits of the classes versus an online translation service?
I mean, and those are great on the spot. And we are very lucky that technology has come that far over these past 20 years. And the translators are better than they used to be. But my go-to line really is, if you want to learn the language to interact with humans, then you should learn from a human.
Right.
It's just that, it's that relationship building. It's that, that human piece of it. If you just need to speak Spanish for 1 minute, then holding your phone up is okay.
It works.
Right.
Yeah. But it's long term. It's
Right.
not the relationship you're trying to build with your workforce, right? So I know another unique thing you're doing now is immersion experiences abroad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we've been doing those for quite a while on about an every other year basis. We've gone to Costa Rica, we've gone to Spain, we've gone to Peru, Machu Picchu, Peru. One of the most outstanding trips was Cuba. That was,
wow.
now I don't think you can really go anymore. So we're very lucky we did that. We did the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador last year. And this year we are going to Argentina.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a 2-week trip from November 1 to the 15th.
So leaving out of CBG
Correct.
and going, are the people that go, are they business leaders? Are they just a wide variety of people?
A wide variety. I didn't mention I do adult classes for individuals as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that is like, I have a main group of travelers that have been going on these trips for many years. And then maybe somebody will bring a spouse or a friend or a kid. So like I met a lady at some networking, different events, and she's bringing her daughter.
Oh,
So,
neat.
yeah.
So if I want to sign up or learn about any of the services you offer, how do I do that?
The best would be to go to the website, SpanishOnTheFly.com. And from the website, you can fill out an interest form, and somebody will get back with you, usually within 24 hours.
And one thing I didn't ask that I want to ask off the cuff here is your location, because I know you've got a new brick and mortar facility. Tell us about that.
Yes. I'm in Ludlow, Kentucky. They call it the main drag on Elm Street. I'm at 311 Elm Street.
311 Elm Street.
Yeah.
So people can just come in and take individualized programs with you as well.
Correct.
Or you go out to the companies and do that as well.
Yes.
Correct?
So in Ludlow, most of my classes are in the evenings.
Okay.
From like 6 to 8 p.m. And I work with some private clients as well that work there. And I have another location now as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
In Southgate, Kentucky. And I've hired an instructor because she lives right near that. And so it's really, really convenient for her. And that's a whole other part of the market that, doesn't always want to. We don't really like to cross all of our rivers around here, So it's a whole other, it's very convenient for anybody out in Campbell County. It's on Southgate. It's on their main drag, I guess. So
it sounds like we're where we need to be, right? In this stage of the game.
Exactly.
We're doing what we need to do to serve our public. So
yes.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Chris Knockelman with Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's spring now, but before you know it, our ACs are working overtime.
Dave, it's going to be warm soon.
Right now is a good time to get the AC serviced, right?
You can get your AC tuned up for only $59.
So get your $59 tune-up at
SKPHA.com. SKPHA. So if your plumbing and mechanical systems give you trouble, just remember our name. Schneller Knockelman.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed learning more about Barnes Dennig and Spanish on the Fly on today's episode of the podcast. Thank you once again to our podcast sponsors, C Crew, Google and Amazon advertising experts, and Schneller Knockelman. Like I said, you still have time to register for Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky happening on Thursday, June 5th. Registration will be closing on May 22nd, so don't miss out. You can register at nkychamber.com/events, as always, and learn more about the event and our incredible honorees this year. Finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Aitlin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen if you are a viewer, and our listeners can find that, as always, at nkychamber.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to everyone next week.